The one and only. Looking for the one that will love you perfectly and forever and ever is a defense mechanism, and it is unrealistic, and it prevents you from getting hurt. Dating unavailable people is also a defense mechanism. Looking for the one is a defense mechanism. Because the one doesn't exist. The one person that will love you perfectly, that is made for you. Looking for the one is a lot of pressure. Pressure on yourself to find the one, and pressure on the other to be the one. And we want less pressure in relationships, not more pressure. Less expectations to show up perfectly, not more expectations. There's a lot of problems with the one, looking for the one. One of them is, how can you trust that whoever you found is the one? What if they're not the one? What if they're the one and then cease to become the one because they're a human being and they're flawed? What if they break up with you? What if the one breaks up with you? And then if they were the one, then there's no one left. You blew it. That was the one. It's very limiting. It's limiting. And it's a lot of pressure on the other person. Imagine if you're in a relationship and you've told this person like you're the one. It's a lot of pressure not to fuck up. And it's a lot of pressure to meet all of your needs in a way that makes sense for you. Instead of the one, looking for the one, how about looking for the one for right now? This is sort of this idea of like, oh, I'm not looking for Mr. Right, I'm looking for Mr. Right now. What if the one was just the person that you were in a relationship with? What if the one was the person for right now? The person that you choose to grow with and to explore life with today? What if that was the one? What if there was no pressure to be anything more than just a regular human being that is full of traumas and stories and experiences and is going to disappoint? Instead of looking for the one, I'd rather you just choose to be with somebody, knowing that they're not perfect. Because perfection doesn't exist. And I guess that is connected to this idea of the one, right? The one is perfect. They are like custom made for you. And you'll be happy. You will live happily ever after if you find this person, this like imaginary, magical person. Also, can you even imagine if there was only one person that you could be happy with? What are the odds that you're actually going to find that person out of 8 billion people? There's just one? What if you're in a relationship with somebody great that meets a lot of your needs and is willing to grow and is open, but in the back of your head, you're like, can I do better? What if they're not the one? What if there's somebody else? Now what am I doing? I'm wasting my time. The one takes you out of the present moment from being in a relationship with whoever you're in a relationship with, whoever's in front of you, whoever's willing to do the work with you for now. I like to talk about my partner as being the one for right now. And I tell her this. We laugh about it. Because we know that at any point, any of your relationships can end. Your relationship can end. The love of your life could choose to just not be with you anymore. And that's normal. It's okay. But if you believe in the one, then if that person leaves you, then that was it. That was the one that got away. That was the only person that was ever going to love you the way you wanted to be loved. And I don't think that's realistic. I think we could be really, really happy in relationship with a lot of different people. And that we should evaluate those people critically. Are they kind and respectful? Do we have the same values? Are they willing to grow with me? Are they good communicators? Decent communicators? Do they recognize some of their weaknesses? Are they willing to meet you halfway, part of the way? Do you both want the same thing? Do you see a future together? These are questions that I'm more interested in rather than, are you the one? Are you the one feels so huge. How could anybody ever answer that? And how can anybody ever know? Nobody knows. Nobody knows how this is going to play out. Putting all of it on one person is extremely risky. And it's a recipe for getting really, really hurt and disappointed when that person turns out not to be the one. What if who you thought was the one turns out is not the one? Then how can you even trust yourself to find the one if the person you thought was the one isn't the one? The further I go down the rabbit hole of the one, the more it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's a lot of pressure on us to find the one and on the other person to be the one. Relationships are hard. Love is messy. People are complicated. And every dynamic is different. No relationship is the same. No two people are the same. Everybody affects the other person. The other person affects you. Relationships and love is more of an art than a science. I don't think it can be quantified so easily as saying, yeah, do this and you'll get this. Find the one and you'll be happy. You could find the one and end up not being happy because people change. That's another universal truth. Relationships are hard, people are complicated, love is messy, and people change. Everything changes. So instead of looking for the one, find someone that is kind and respectful. Find someone that's willing to grow with you. Find someone that accepts you for who you are, warts and all. Find someone who shares the same values as you. Date somebody who wants to date you. Date somebody who's a good communicator or who's willing to learn. Date someone who has some humility. Some humility. Is willing to look at their part. Is willing to admit that they fucked up. Date someone who's adventurous and curious. That to me is more interesting than the one. The one speaks of perfection and idealism, and it's not realistic. People aren't perfect. People aren't perfect. Love is messy. It's so messy. And it's a little bit easier when you're with someone who sees the world the same way that you do, relatively. Who's willing to do the work. Who's willing to own up to their mistakes. and to say, I'm sorry I fucked up. Who's kind, who's respectful. These are things that I want for you. Much more interesting than finding the one. That's all I have to say today. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day.